studying these things because I'm not the part of development now, but now as a part of my job, I have to involve in the implementation. So those, those of the shortcomings or those of the weak areas or gray areas, you will get inshallah fulfill after this training. At least you will be able to understand what is written in the standard. So what is written in the standard, it is the same thing from where your procedure, from your work instruction, from where your guideline has been designed. So this course is going to give you a strong foundation to understand these three management system standards. So then you can develop within your company if you don't have already the system available, and even if you have the management system available, you can improve it and you can do much better before attending this course. And the second part of this course will be focusing on internal audit, because after the implementation, it is the requirement of the clause of standard that we need to perform the internal audit of these standards time to time with the periodic. So this internal auditing will not become when you are only involved in the implementation. We have seen many times that the people, they are very good in the implementation side. They have very vast experience of implementation for this standard, but they don't know what is auditing, what are the requirements of auditing, how to do the auditing, how to identify the non-conformity, how to make the corrective actions, how to fulfill the corrective actions, how to write the reports. So this is one of the challenge for them. And as a part of ISO, we need to do this activity all the time whenever we are certified, or now even your corporates, your clients, they are also requiring you to perform internal audit for your own system. So internal audit is also a very good tool for the improvement as a part of our continual improvement. Whenever we have good auditing team, internal audit team, those who are technically sound, those who are experienced, those having good awareness about the ISO systems, they can raise very good findings. And when there is the very good findings, so same time, if the people who are being audited, they are having good understanding of these management system, they can understand the corrective action, and they are going to take they are going to perform the root cause analysis and corrective actions, and they are going to implement. So it is a complete cycle. We cannot say that only good internal auditors are enough, but at the same time, good implementers are also needed in the company to run the full show. We cannot say that if my one department is going to be fall, so no problem, we can have some other people who are very experienced or who are already very much skilled or competent about IMS requirement. No, it is not the case. We need to take all together. We need to continue with all together, and we need to perform with the whole company. We cannot leave anyone who is involved in the operations. So this is the main purpose of the course, that we are going to guide you about the implementation and internal auditing. And this internal auditing, for the internal auditing, we will be focusing on ISO 19011. So 19011 is the standard which is going to give us the guideline about the auditing. So this 19011 standard is not for quality audit, is not for safety audit, is not for environment audit, but any of the management system audit which we are going to perform, it will be based on 19011. So after I think 3 or 4 days, we will come on the internal auditing side, and we will be doing the internal audit. So the course syllabus, or you can say the session plan, you can see in your learner guide. You always have your learner guide available with you, right? This is your, you can say this is your holy book. This is something which is very important for you to remain with this learner guide, because the slides which I'm going to use from the next slide, these are very brief. These are for the trainer. These are not for the participant. For the participant, for the students, you have the learner guide available. You are the learner, you have the learner guide available. In my slide, there is very less detail which is going to be mentioned, but in your learner guide, there are very much detail which is available. And remember that we are not going to finish this learner guide, right? This is what I'm saying now at the start of course, that this whole learner guide we are not going to finish, but this learner guide is for your reference. The same thing which we have also mentioned in the learner guide, that you will be using this learner guide in the future when you will have the responsibility directly responsibility for the development, for the implementation, and for the internal auditing. So at that time, when you are going to take out this learner guide, you will find that this is what we have discussed. So maybe some of the unimportant topic we are going to spend very less time, or we can skip. Uh, but all of the important things which are needed for the implementation, we will apply, and we will try to finish them, to explain them as much as possible. So this is all about our course aim. Uh, are you sure that you have the learner guide available with you? All of you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
Very good. Okay. So as you can see in the guidelines of attending the course and making this course successful, after each slide, I will ask you if you have any question, if you have any concern, so you can ask. And during the course, during the presentation, if you have any question, you can just raise your hand, and I will make it, mark it, and I will ask you once I'm going to have, comfortable. Because when the trainer is going in his own path, and you are going to disturb him, so sometimes very important information is going to be lost. So that's why I told all of you to make your mics mute. Whenever needed, you can unmute yourself, and you can speak. And at the same time, if you have any question, you can raise your hand, and I will try to give you the answer wherever possible. And sometimes during the course, it might be possible you are going to ask me a question, and I will say, okay, please, we will give this answer on second day or third day or the fourth day. So sometimes, as you are, mashallah, all energized, you are all excited about attending this course. So you have certain questions in your mind. You have few questions in your mind, and sometimes you get the questions from the presentation. So we are not meeting first day. We will be meeting inshallah second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day. So don't think that everything I have to ask today. At the same time, as a trainer, I also make sure that I'm not going to give you too much information today. So this is not a one day course. We are not meeting. This is not our first day and the last day, but we will have 5-6 days together. So whenever you are going to ask the question, it should be according to the topic which we are going to discuss. And if I think that this question can be transferred to next slides or next days, I will say, okay, please mark this question. I will give you the answer on later on. So please don't mind for it. I'm not going to have any intention about that. I'm not going to involve you. I'm going to involve you, but we need to be focused. We need to be focused what we are going to discuss, right? So in session 1, it's a very short session. We are going to discuss not much in detail about IMS management system. Before starting this session, I would ask you, all of you, to please join this poll and quickly give me the idea about your understanding about ISO. Okay, you will have 5 minutes, and then we will discuss it very quickly so we can have idea that what is your level of understanding. So I'm going to launch this poll. You need to select one answer. There are multiple answers, 2 answers for each question. You have to select one answer. Don't try to select 2 answers. Must select only one answer, and then we will see what is the level of our participants, so we can decide the level we need to take for the further proceeding of this course. Okay, please accept this poll. Yes, guys, can you see the poll now?
Yes, we can see it.
Yes, we can see.
Yes, guys. Uh, IMS is not something which is written in the standard of 9001 or 14001, but it is only the industrial norm which is now popular since last many years. When we say IMS, which means integrated management system, when we are going to combine or meeting the requirement of two or more than two standards together. So this is our IMS. So IMS is very important in terms of if you are not going to implement uh, a good IMS system, then all your requirement will be haphazard. Sometimes we have seen that companies have two system, three management system, four management system, and they are implementing in a very efficient way. And sometimes we have seen even companies have two management system, but they are not being implemented in a smart way or in a good way. So the people remain confused that what we need to do for 9,000, what we need to do for the 14 and 45,000. Sometimes this challenge comes when you have two different departments responsible for these management system. For example, the quality department as a part of QA team or QC team, that department is responsible for 9,000, so they will be developing the documents according to their understanding. And the HSE manager, he is responsible for 14,000 and 45,000, so he is developing the documents according to his knowledge and his experience. So somehow again it makes the employees or the staff confused that are we going to follow the requirements of 9,000 as a more importantly, or 45,000. So I mean, I would suggest that whenever you are going to implement or establish a, a system of IMS in your company, it's better that to combine both. And there should be one department or one authority who will be responsible for two, three standards which are going to implement in the company. So they can own each standard, they can understand each standard, and they can apply each standard in a true sense rather than focusing on my thing. And because if we are not implementing these things, the disaster will be for the employees, the disaster will be for the other people, employees who are working in the company. They remain confused all the time that what we have to follow and what we are not going to follow. So then we will discuss about a system, what is integrated management system, and how we are going to do the integration of management system. Yes, Ali, any question?
No, no, no. I was just want to tell you to start recording.
Okay, thanks. So what is a system? When we say system, it does not mean we are talking only about the management system. It means that system is the interconnection of component to achieve a given objective. When we say given objective, which means that we need to have a coherent system. We need to have a system having the same goals, having the same intention, and whatever documentation or the policies and procedures we are going to implement, all should give us some positive results. If your system is not giving you improvement, if your system is not going to give you positive results, the system is useless or the system is not working. In companies, you have the system. In countries, you have the system. In states, you have the system. So to organize yourself in your homes, you have the system. So to organize our activities, to organize our processes, and the activities, we need to have a system available. So everybody can follow those requirements, and at the end of the day, we will get the improvement. So those companies who don't have the system, they are always lacking. We have seen many companies, they are having very good business. They are in the business for a long time. But when you ask their employees, what is the policy about this? What is the procedure for this? They say that we don't have any policies and procedure. We are doing this, whatever my manager is saying. We are doing this, whatever my management is saying. So this is our system. So which means that if the system is man dependent, then it is not a system. Man dependency is the big, against our system. When we have a good system, which means that less man dependency. And if we have all the time man dependency, which means that there is no system. So when we say include the organization resources and process, people, equipment, culture, and documented policies and practices are the part of our system. To know about the system of the company, it is not easy. You need to spend some time within the company. We cannot say that I'm going to meet the company for 15 minutes, for 20 minutes to the management, and I will know about the system. No, it is not the case. You cannot judge the system of the company within a couple of hours. You need to spend some time in the company, for example, a couple of days or a week minimum. So then you will come to know as per requirement whenever you are going to ask the things, whenever you are going to have the issues. Then at those moments you are going to know that if there is a system which is going to be exist or it is not going to be exist. Sometimes we think that the company has good HR system, which means that they have a very good system. This HR system is only the one of the part of the system, but it is not the full system. When we say full system, which means that it should meet the requirements of all employees. And it is not necessary that it will be a quality management system. We can have the overall system of improvement. We can have more than one management system. We can have more than one system which can be applied in a company. But all of this system, the result should be improvement. The result should be facilitation of people. Then we can say that we have a good system, and this system is going to give us the products, right? What is an IMS? IMS, Integrated Management System. Integrated management system integrates all of your organization systems and processes into one coherent system, enabling your organization to work as a single unit with unified objectives. It is very necessary to have a single unit with unified objectives. I just told you before this slide that we have seen that the companies, the one of the challenge for IMS implementation is the same thing, that the companies make responsible different people for different management system, and they are all going in their own direction. One is going in east, the other is going in west, and the other is going in north. So if we want to have a productive system, if we want to have a good IMS system, then it is necessary that all your organizational units are coherent. The objective of the management system should be same, and they are all going to serve or going to meet our purpose and mission of the organization. So this is our IMS system. IMS system is not the only the development of documentation or reducing the documentation, but it is the culture of the company. It is the system of the company which is going to provide us facilitation. And as I told you, when we say IMS, which means that two or more than two systems. The more system you are going to combine, the more complexity is possible. But as far as requirement of ISO is concerned, ISO management system, they have too much symmetric in each other now. After 2011, all of the IMS management systems or ISO management systems, they have a very good symmetry in their system, so we can apply these systems together. But definitely each system is an independent system. We cannot ignore one system, or we cannot ignore the requirements of one system, and the other requirements are very much visible, but the 14,000, for example, requirements are not visible, and 45 requirements are very much visible in the company. So we have seen with our experience when I used to go for the audits for the companies, whenever we talk about IMS, the most prominent system in the companies is the safety system, because environment 70% of environment system is in the documentation. For example, you are making the testing, measurements, reports, environmental testing, and HSEQ impact. So these are all the documentation. Quality management system is all, most of the time it is focusing on the documentation as well. But the safety system is something which you can see, which the people see, which the people can apply, which from where the people can get accident, from where the people are facing the problems. So the safety system is always prominent when we talk about these three management system. But we as a part of IMS, we need to be focused on each individual standard. So these can be applied in the true sense. Whenever we are going to have the audits of these management system, the auditor will be focusing on individual system, right? He cannot say that since you are IMS, so no need for 14,000 standard implementation. We will give you the certificate of 14,000 with 45,000. There is no there is no offer, there is no combo that you will get buy one and get one free. You have to apply each management system as an individual management system, but these will be as a part of our integration. So the integration, how we are going to do the integration, we will discuss in these slides. So what integration is not? The integration is not about something to be integrated. It does not just sit next to the other component. For example, you have two procedure available and you will make one paragraph and then you will make another paragraph from copy from the other procedure. You will have second paragraph of one procedure, then second paragraph of other procedure. It is not the case. When we say integration, it doesn't mean that you are combining each and every requirement of all the standards. There is no fixed things. We cannot say that when we have the integration that we need to do this. Rather, we need to see the requirements of a standard. There is no formula for the integration. We cannot say that when we have integration system, so the 33% will be the quality, 33% will be the environment, 33% will be the safety. It is not the case. Rather, we need to focus on the activities of the companies. We need to focus on the requirements of the companies, and then we need to apply this integration. By compiling a financial, quality, health and safety system, environmental system into one book of policies and procedure is not integrated system. As I told you that these combining of these policies is not the integration. We need to understand the vision. We need to understand the objective of these standards. So the repeating of tasks is not the IMS system purpose. So IMS purpose is to avoid the repetition of tasks. So repetition of tasks, if we are going to avoid, but at the same time, we cannot skip any of the requirement, right? Relevant to any of the organization, regardless of size or sector, who wants to integrate two or more their management system into one cohesive system with a holistic set of documentation, policies and procedures. So you can see that it is not necessary that we need to carry out three management system. We need to have three management system and then we will go for the integration. We can go for integration from start. Not a problem. Sometimes the company think that, okay, in first 2-3 years, we will be applying single standards. And then after that, we will go after 2 years, after 3 years, we will go for the integration. So it is their own wish. But if your management is intending to apply all three standards, then I would suggest it is more easier to start with IMS directly rather than to go as individual. But definitely when you are going to apply IMS, you need to take care of this thing, that any one of the standard you cannot take very lighter, and the other standard you are going to meet all the requirement. It is not the case. In IMS case, you need to meet the requirement of all standards which you are going to apply. Organization must open such a system are those who have maturing the management system and wish to introduce other management system. Another very important thing, whenever we have the IMS management system, when we are applying the IMS management system in our companies, it doesn't mean that now any of the system can be integrated. For example, I'll give you the requirement of halal, right? Halal is one of the standard. I hope you have seen that many of the product, they have the label of halal. It is also a management system, but most of the time it cannot be combined with the quality or environment or health and safety management system, because it is focusing on the product, while these management system are focusing on the system or the management system side. So when we are going to apply the integration, it doesn't mean that any of the standard you will bring and I will integrate on it. No, it is not the case. And similarly, but at the same time, we need to have such uh, such a way that if any other management system later on company decide that we are going to integrate this, for example ISO 50001, which is for the energy management system, we are going to integrate this management system, so our management system should accept this, right? So whenever we have the similar requirements, we can integrate them even after, once we have the IMS system with 2-3 standards, and after 3 years company decide that we will go for another standard, we should be flexible in this case. Our integrated management system should be flexible in a sense to meet the requirement of those. But it is not necessary that my IMS system will be meeting the requirement of each and every standard. It is not the case, right? We need to see those possibilities or those symmetries which can combine together, and it is not necessary that all of the standards can combine together, right? So what are the reasons for IMS? Reduce duplication and therefore the cost. For example, you need to have one engineer or one manager for quality, one manager for health and safety and environment. So why two? We can have one IMS management manager who should be competent on all these 3 standards, and he can develop a good management system with his team. Reduce the risk and increase profitability. Definitely nowadays all companies they are focusing on the cost cutting. When they are focusing on the cost cutting, this IMS is going to give them a very good edge or the benefit that how they can reduce the cost, because all of the standards they are now risk based. Remember, risk based. So we can combine the requirements of all these 3 standards together, and then we can apply. Then balance in conflicting the objectives, because when you are going to have the objectives for quality, when you have the objective for safety, when you have the objective for environment or food safety, then we need to have a balance on it. It is not necessary that you will develop the 5 objectives of quality and then there is no objective for safety and environment side, but we can combine these objective as a one objective part. We can say that these 5 or these 8 objectives are our IMS objective. uh, Eliminate conflicting responsibilities and relationship, very necessary. As I told you before that sometimes when you have two responsible persons for 2 different systems, so the people who are working in the company, the staff is going to be confused that to whom should I listen, to which of the procedure I should follow. So to avoid this kind of conflict between the people, IMS is very is very beneficial. So all of will have the same procedures available, and they will have one key contact, one department or one person to whom they can discuss the requirements of each standard, and then they can apply. Diffuse the power system. As I told you, man dependency is going to be reduced with this management system. All management system are designed in such a way that the man dependency is going to be reduced. Formalize informal systems. Sometimes we know that in the companies they are doing the activities in production department in for the purpose of quality, for the purpose of food safety, for the purpose of environment and safety, but these are not the part of management system. So to make them a part of management system, if we are having IMS system, we can easily make them as a part of our IMS system. Sometimes we have seen that the companies are doing, for example, fire extinguishers inspection, fire detectors inspection. So they say that it is a part of our safety system. But if you have the IMS system, then you can combine this as a part of monitoring and measurement in terms of safety, monitoring and measurement in terms of environment, monitoring and measurement in terms of quality. So we can combine all these requirements in one procedure. We can have the forms available for each of these activity. So we can say that these are the requirements and we are meeting these requirements, all requirement through one procedure. Harmonize and optimize our practices to make more improvement, create consistency and improve communication, which is very important. So the people in the company, they should know that who is our key contact, and what we need to do. Facilitate training and development in such a way that no need for training of, for example, now when you are getting the training, you are getting the training for quality management system, environmental management system, and health and safety management system. But when you are, so all these three trainings are combined in IMS. But if your company is having two systems, so they might go for separate training. If they have three systems and they don't have the IMS, then they will go for each of the training separate. So it is more time taking, more cost taking, and definitely the resources are going to be waste. So that's why IMS is very reasonable system. IMS has a lot of benefits which you can also see in your book, and most of you are already working in the IMS. So this is what we need to understand about the IMS to apply. What will be our methodology in this course? That we will be discussing as individual, because when you are going to understand the standard, as I told you before, that although we are learning IMS, but understanding of each standard as individual is necessary. So our focus will be on understanding of each standard as individual, and after getting the understanding of these three standards individual, there is one session for again IMS. We have this IMS introduction, and then again how to make our IMS system. So first we will be discussing about quality, environment, and safety, and then we will be discussing about how to integrate these system in one system. So this will be discussed in inshallah on 4th or 5th day of the course. Any questions, guys? Yes, Ali.
Yes, I just have one question. In case that we are certified for the integrated management system, do you think it will stop, or we can be certified by governmental sectors? Like now we have issue with the Industrial Security, Safety and Security Department in RC Yambo.
Right.
If I have a 14,000 certificate, that will stop, or they will say that you are certified now. You will be already certified by the governmental sectors, or how?
Okay. Good question. A very practical question. First, I will give you the answer, and then other of our friends who are from Yambo or who are working with Tahliya, they can also add something on it. But first, I will give you the answer. See, standard will make sure that you are following the legal requirement, right? Standard will make sure that you are following the legal requirement. What does it mean? There is a clause in a standard which needs that you should follow the legal requirements of your system. RC is an independent authority. Aramco is an independent authority if you are working with them. So they can accept this certification. They can say, they can appreciate, okay, Mr. Ali Kishavi, your company is ISO certified company for 14,000. We are very much inspired. You have a very good system. But these are our requirements which you have to meet. If you are going to integrate these requirements in your IMS system, then very good. If you are not be able to meet their requirement in your ISO management and IMS management system, then still they will have the same concern. For example, tomorrow you will get certified and you have the air pollution which is out of the limit of RC requirement. Tomorrow you will become ISO 14001 certified, but your effluent or the discharge which is going out of the company, it is still not meeting the requirement of RC. So RC will say, Khali wali, we don't need your certificate. We need that you should meet the requirements which are required by you to meet as a legal requirement. So when we are getting the standard or management system certification, our management system certification will say that identify the legal requirements which are applicable to your company, and then you are going to make the action plan according to those requirements. So that's how you are covering the legal requirement. Clear?
Yes, clear.
Anyone can add those who are working in Tahliya. They are also having, RC. It is the same case with you also, like while and
No, it's not the same case, but we have GAMAP regulation.
Government regulation. So when the government comes, right. So when they used to come, they are asking for the certification, or they are asking for their own requirements.
Just for requirement.
Their own requirement. They have nothing to do with your
No.
certification of ISO, right?
No. There is no her job or the manager
Yes,
of.
but here in Yambo, the Safety and Security Department, their references is OSHA and ISO 4000, 45,000.
Everywhere is the same thing. Everywhere is the same thing.
Yes.
Even the remember we discussed last time, the MSLD, Ministry of Social and Labor Development, they have developed their standard according to the requirement of ISO 45001. So they have the same requirement. Even in Riyadh and Jeddah industrial area, what Mudar is implementing, it is the same requirement of ISO 45000 nowadays. So when you are having these standards, which means that many of their requirement you are meeting, but it doesn't mean that they will keep silent with your piece of certificate. They will still ask, okay, how you are implementing our requirement. But what I have listened from some of our clients, that they said that now SFDA is asking for the food companies that you should go for the food certification. So this is apart from their, for example, 20 set requirements. It is one of their requirement to go for the ISO certification of food. So you cannot say that if I have ISO 22000 certified company, so I will be, I will get license very easily. It will be helping in the getting the license or getting the requirement fulfill of this food and drug department, but it is not the only requirement. It is a part of many requirements. Similarly, Aramco, it is their requirement, one of their requirement to have ISO certified company when you are going to apply for the vendor qualification. But it is not the only requirement. There are hundreds of requirements. Apart from these 100 requirements, one of them is to have ISO certification, right? Any questions, guys?
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll take 5 minutes break and then continue.
Okay.
Requirements of each process is going to be met. In quality assurance, we are focusing on the specifications and we make the decision pass and fail. But in quality management, we don't make the decision pass and fail. We make the decision that how we are going to improve, next time. So if the product is QC pass or QC fail or QA fail, which means that it cannot come in the market. But quality management system is the set of procedures and guidelines who are going to give you the practices which are going to focus on the whole management system of the company, and the result is always the improvement. So this is the simple difference between QA and quality management system. What we are going to discuss in session number 2 is about overview of 9001, overview of quality management system, 9000 series, process approach and continual improvement, quality management system, changes between 9001 and 2015 and 2008 versions, structure, scope and application of 9001. It may be possible that we will finish it today, or it may be possible that we will continue it tomorrow. It depends on once we are going to start. We are not in a hurry, as I told you.
Mr. Anas?
Yes.
So the quality assurance is for product, if it
Product
can pass or
process
it can fail.
Both product and process is both. Maybe your company does not have any product. They are providing the services. For example, we as a training provider, we don't have any product. We are providing the services, right? So to meet the requirements of these products and services, specifications which are needed to set the criteria for pass and fail, right? These are our quality assurance. And the quality management system is a set of policies and procedures which are needed to drive your whole system. You can say that quality assurance is a part of quality management system. Quality management system is a very broad system. Quality control is a part of quality assurance, and quality assurance is a part of quality management system. Yes, Ali. Kishabi.
So the quality assurance, we can say it that it's make sure that the processes or the product is meet the internal specification, and the quality management system is the external specification. Is that right?
No, not the external. quality management system makes sure that you have the specification available. You get the point. First you need to have the mother, then you can have the baby, right? So the quality management system makes sure that you need to develop the specification, and these specifications are a part of quality assurance. So when you are going to meet the requirement of quality assurance, ultimately you are going to meet the requirement of quality management. But quality assurance is only a part of quality management system. It is not the full quality management system. Quality management system has many other components which we are going to discuss, right? But sometimes the companies, they give the quality management system, you know, responsibility to the quality assurance manager or the quality assurance quality control managers, which is okay. I mean, somehow, because they are already used to of making procedures and specifications, so when they are going to learn QMS, it will be easier for them to understand rather than any other person who is not involved in the quality activities. But this quality assurance and quality control is a different thing. Quality management system is a different thing, right? Don't get confused. Sometimes the participant, they get confused that when we are attending a quality management system course, which means that it will be discussing very you know, technical terminologies and very specific requirements, but it is not the case. Quality management system discuss about the overall management system or the business of the company rather than only the product specification. Product specification is only one part, which is discussed in clause number 8, right? So what we are going to discuss in quality management system, why we need to have quality management system, what is the purpose, structure and benefits of quality management system. So let's start with the need. So when we are going to establish a quality management system, what we need to understand? The first thing we need to understand that what are our internal and external factors. When you have a company to implement or develop or establish a quality management system, development or establishment is the same, right? In standard, you will find the word in the clauses to have, you need to establish, implement and maintain. Establish, implement, maintain. These three keywords, always remember. There will be many requirements within the systems of ISO where you will find the word you need to have establish, implement, maintain. Establish, implement, maintain. Remember, the first word I told you to remember was the, what was the first thing which I told you? You should remember this.
Safety the best.
No.
About
Establish.
No, not here. Before in the previous slide, I told you to remember this. We will be using this word all the time.
Risk-based thinking.
Very good, very good. Who told this?
So far.
Very good. So risk-based thinking. All the standards are now developed, or the establishment of all standards are based on risk-based thinking. So this was the first which we will be using during the whole standard when we are going to discuss. Second thing which you need to remember as a part of implementation, that there will be certain requirements in the standards which you need to develop, implement, or you can say establish, implement and maintain. Establish, implement and maintain. These three words, remember, this is the same thing with ISO certification. This is the same thing with 45,000 certification. This is the same thing with ISO 14,000 certification. Establish, you have established a system, you got the certification. The game is not over. The game has started now. So you have to implement and maintain. Implement and maintain. When you are going to start your system, you have the procedures available. You got the help from any consultant who established your documents. It is not the end of system. It is the start of the system. Now the main challenge which 60% of you guys have mentioned in the startup, that we have the challenge of implementation. We have the challenge of implementation. So that's why standard says you need to implement and then maintain. Very important thing, maintain. You are very good today, but it is not necessary that you will be very good tomorrow also. You need to maintain your credibility. You need to maintain your integrity. You need to maintain the system. We are going to fill all the requirements of management system today, but once we get the certification, the companies, they sleep. and they think that now the auditor will come next year. So we will wake up in the last month. So where is the maintenance? Where is the implementation? And then they got worried, oh, what we have done? We have done nothing in last 1 year. So development or establishment of the system is 33% part. Implementation is the 33% part, and maintenance is the 33% part. So when we are going to have a management system, we need to establish, implement, and maintain. So always remember these three keywords. So now your company has asked you that we are going to get certification and you will be the team lead for this project. Okay, so now how you are going to start your thinking, because the company has assigned you this task. Maybe they trust on your capabilities, or maybe they think that you are a part of IMS team or the safety team, so that's why they have assigned you. So now from where you are going to start your thinking, because you will be guiding the company, you will be making the feasibility, you will be hiring the consultant, or you will be taking the training. So you are also responsible as a project manager. So what we need to do is, first thing, we need to understand internal and external factors. For example, we need to understand the needs and expectations. Okay, what are my internal needs of my company and what are the external needs of my company? We will discuss in detail these things when we are discussing the clauses. But then we need to establish a quality policy and the objectives. Very important. If you don't have the quality policy, you cannot run the system. When you don't have the quality policy, you cannot develop the procedures. So your procedures are going to be established from your quality policy. Objectives are one of the very important area in any of the management system. Objectives mean improvement. If there are no objectives, which means no improvement in the company. So then you need to determine the processes and responsibilities. Sometimes the department, they have their own process flow available, which is very good. If they don't have the process flow, we need to see how the process is going on, how the process of the company is going on, and how the process of each individual department is going on. We need to focus on it. And then who are the responsibility down the line, starting from top management up to the bottom. So who is responsible for which decision? Who is responsible for which? Who is accountable for which of the responsibility? For example, your job description. For example, your organization chart. We need to have these things available when we are establishing the quality management system. Then how to apply these things? How to apply and measure? We have the process available. We have the pressure gauge, temperature gauge available in our company, in my production department, in my warehouse. But what to do now? Is it working fine? Do I know that if the readings are correct, because I'm depending on it? My product pass and fail result depending on these equipment. So we need to monitor these equipment, because on the basis of these equipment, we will decide if my result is pass or my product is pass or fail. So we need to monitor these equipment, we need to monitor these instruments, and then determine the means for preventing non-conformities and eliminating the causes. Again, now what does it mean? Risk-based thinking. Risk-based thinking. Determine means of prevent. How to prevent? How can we prevent from accident? By doing the risk assessment. When we are going to do the risk assessment, then we are going to apply the control. So if we are not going to do the risk assessment, then we cannot prevent from the non-conformities. Non-conformities are similar to the accidents. So the clause name, even the non-conformities and accident investigation. So non-conformities are basically the accidents of quality. Non-conformities are also the accident of environment and safety. If we are not going to apply the preventive measures, if we are not going to do the risk assessment, if we are not going to identify the hazard and not going to apply the control, then we will have these non-conformities and we cannot have a good management system available. Provide an adequate monitoring and review system, for example, management review meeting, for example, auditing, for example, inspection activities, and establish and apply a process of continual improvement, which means corrective and preventive actions. We need to apply the system. We need to have objectives available. We need to have a system of management review, which makes sure that my system is going to be improved, which shows that my company is going to be improved. We have seen many companies that who have applied quality management system and they have improved rapidly in their processes and activities. Quality management system is a voluntary standard. 14,000 management system is a voluntary standard. 45,000 is the voluntary standard. Nobody is forcing you to take these standards, but companies decide from their own wish that we have to take this management system to improve ourselves, to improve our system, to improve our results, to improve our reputation. So, but once you are going to take these management system, once you are going to apply these management system, they become mandatory for you, right? Until unless you are not going to take, nobody will ask. But once you are going to adopt these management system, they will become mandatory for you. So that's why it is very necessary. Benefit of a good quality management system. There are many benefits of a good quality management system. That's why we are attending this training, and that's why we are working in the quality departments and or the IMS department. For example, improvement in our business, improvement in our business planning, greater awareness about the quality throughout the company, awareness of the system, awareness of the policies and procedures. Our customers will be satisfied if we have a good quality system, if we have a good quality management system or good quality assurance, quality inspection, quality control systems available. So customer will be satisfied. Sometimes customer asks you directly that we need you to be certified on quality management system. So otherwise you cannot enter in our tender process or you cannot enter in our evaluation process. So it is a very necessary requirement from the customers. Reduce the cost of non-quality. Very important when we say non-quality, which means that those costs which are going to be applied time to time due to unavailability of management system, this is going to be reduced. I remember in one of the company, they have assigned me one task to do the risk assessment for environment and safety because it was a requirement from their customers. So we give them the proposal and they accepted and we did this activity. After that, they got the requirement from client that you need to have a system available for safety inspection and internal auditing. Then they again call us, we submit the proposal and then we did this. I told them when they hired me as a on the first time that it's better that you should go try to go for the certification to avoid these kind of requirement all the time, because you have multiple customers and they will have multiple requirements. So once you have the certification, you will meet many of the requirements from the customers. They told no, we have only this requirement now, so you should work on it. So we work on it and they got this problem solved. But again, time to time they are calling and they are having this requirement, this requirement, this requirement. So you can see that if you don't have the management system, then every time you need to take the help from others. But if you have the management system, which means that the framework is already there, now you need to understand this system and apply this system. So it is the main difference. And similarly, it is also the difference between IMS and a non-IMS system, that the things are going to be repeated for the standards. So if we have a good IMS system, which means that we have reduced the cost, we have reduced the time. So many of the benefits are available. Let's proceed with some, history of 9000. So how it was developed? It was first developed in by British Standard Institute BSI as a BS 5750, and then in 87 it was established by it was adopted by ISO, and then from that time it is with the ISO, and still the standard which we have now, it is 2015 version. The latest standard of ISO which we have is 2015 version. After 2015 version, still there is no any published standard available for 9001 standard, and also for 45,000 for 14,000 standard. So when we have 2015 with ISO 9001, which means that it is the year of publication, right? Before 2015 there was 2008 version. So there is no timeline defined by ISO that how many years it will take to change the standard, right? So it doesn't mean that if the standards are going to be changed by within 3 years, within 5 years, within 8 years, but ISO does not say it. ISO, it all works on the feedback from the member countries. Once they have the feedback that we need to have the updates, we need to have available, we need to have more and more requirements available, then they will develop the update version. And if they don't have the requirements available from member countries, then they will be working on the same standard. So there is no time limit, but from our experience, we have seen that normally it takes 7 to 8 years to have the new version available, because it is not easy. It is not one organization that the director will say something and khalas, the procedure is going to be changed. It is not the case. They have the technical committees for each standard, which are going to meet, which are going to review the requirement, and after that they are going to start working on the new version of the standard. So it takes 7-8 years to have the new version. Then we have Annex SL. Annex SL is also called high level structure. What is high level structure? High level structure after 2015, all the standards, they are following the Annex SL. Annex SL, it also came, I think, in 2013, when they have decided that all of the standards of ISO management system, they will have the symmetric requirements. They will have the same number of clauses. Before,
Sir,
yes, sorry.
what mean SL?
Annex SL, it is the name only. SL.
SL, what's abbreviation of what?
No, there is no such abbreviation. XL is a full word, is Annex SL. I will further search, but as far as my knowledge is concerned, Annex SL is the one word. It is not 2 different words or 3 different words. Okay, we call it high level of structure. Annex SL is also called high level of structure. So Annex SL, the purpose of Annex SL was to make easier for the standards as a part of integration, to make more symmetric requirement, because some standards had 8 clauses, some standard has 10 clauses, some standard had 7 clauses. So those who are like you people, or like we as auditor, consultant, we remain confused. So integration at that time, it was difficult, because different requirements, different name, different clause number. So to make the system coherent, because when we say as a part of our 9001 that there should be a system, there should be a symmetric in our system and policies and procedures. So this the same applied to ISO also, that when they are developing the system or they are developing the standards, they should have the same level, they should have the same requirements which can be applied easily on with each other. So Annex SL is for the consistency and compatibility, and it is very good for applying in the IMS, or you can say that it provides the structure for overall standard which can be further applied in within your organization. So Annex SL, now all the companies, now all the standards which are being published from 2015, they are following the same high level of structure, which is 10 clauses, and all the standards have now 10 clauses. Your 9000 standard will have 9001 standard will have 10 clauses, 14001 standard will have 10 clauses, 45001 will have 10 clauses, 22001 will have 10 clauses. All the management system which are coming from 2015, they are following the Annex SL requirement, and they have the same number of clauses. Now 2015, ISO 2015, as you can see that it is also following the high level structure, right? High level structure is the same being applied. Before, in 2008 version, it was not the high level structure. Before 2015, there was 2008 version, which was not the high level structure. So when we say high level structure, which means that the specific QMS requirement considered as essential to meet the scope of the standard. Similarly, text to reflect the same quality management principle that from the basis of ISO QMS standard, and requirements and notes to clarify, ensure consistent interpretation and implementation of common text. So before, there were too much terminologies which were different. So now in this high level structure, the ISO has tried to use a bit lesser terminologies and common terminologies in all the standards, and within the clauses also. So for example, risk-based thinking word will be used in many clauses, right? For example, establish, implement and maintain will be used in many clauses. For example, needs and expectations will be used in many clauses. So before there were too many keywords which we need to remember, but now there are many keywords which are being used, which have multiple meaning and which are being used in clauses. So it will be easier for us to understand, it will be easier for us to remember these requirements. 9000 ISO 9001 is the quality management system. 9000 is the standard for fundamentals and vocabulary, right? Fundamental and vocabulary, which means the terms and definitions. 9000 series, as a quality management professional, we should know that 9000 series is for the standards of quality, which has been dedicated for the quality. If it is 9000, if it is 9001, if it is 9004, all of them have certain requirements of quality. So maybe tomorrow you will see one standard with ISO 9022 certified. Okay, you will find one product with ISO 9022 certified. So don't get confused. It means that you as a quality professional, it should come in your mind that it will be meeting some requirement of quality, right? 9022 will be a certain standard for related to the quality. Similarly, 14022 may be some standard related to the environment. 45,000 will be some certain standard for health and safety. So this is how we need to work on these things, that these initials are going to give us the requirements for the standards. These initials are dedicated for the series. These are the series dedicated for different standards. So 9 for the quality, 14 for the environment, and 45 for the health and safety. So 9000 vocabulary and fundamental, when you are going to start reading the standard or you want to understand the standard, it is recommended that you should go first with 9000, so you can have a better idea about the terminologies and vocabulary which is being used. We, as a part of our handouts, we did not include the 9000 standard, but this 9000 standard terminologies and vocabularies are all available in your learner guide. So if you will see at the end of session 2, you will find many of the vocabulary, you will find many of the terminologies. Similarly, in the appendices, you will find that there are many vocabulary and terminologies which are being defined as required by 9000 standard. So you can read it as a part of your homework, and so you will get the idea about the terminologies which are being used in 9000 standard, right? Now 9001 standard. What is 9001 standard? Is about quality management system. Any questions, guys? Any question, please? I forgot to ask. Up till now, we have history. Now we are starting 9001. So 9001 is about quality management system requirements. When we say requirements, remember this word, requirements. 9001 terms, fundamentals and vocabulary, not the requirements. They are making first your concepts with 9000, right? Then it comes 9001. Now it's time to understand the requirements. When we say requirements, which means mandatory to apply. 9001, 9000 was not the requirement, which means it was not mandatory to apply. When we say 9001, which means requirement, it is mandatory to apply. When we say 9000, no audit. When we say 9001, which means audit. When we say 9000, which means no certification. When we say 9001, which means certification. So because you will get audit against certain requirements, you will get certified against certain requirements. So once you are going to pass the exam, then you will get the result. If you are not going to sit in the exam, then how you will get the result? So that's why 9001 is the requirement. Always remember, this one shows the requirement. If there is no one, which means vocabulary and definition. Similarly, we have 9004 standard, which is also the guidelines for implementation. It is not the requirement again. The requirement is 9001. So 9001 set out the requirements for a quality management system that is aimed primarily at giving confidence in the products and services by an organization and thereby enhancing customer satisfaction. There are two purposes. 9000. Whenever you will be reading this standard, you will find these two words, services and products, right? Services and products. Before, these were two different terminologies, but now this new version says that whenever you will find the word of product, you can replace this. If you are not a product based company, if you are a services provider, then you can replace this product as services. So this standard of 9000 or 14,000 or 45,000 is applicable, equally applicable to product related companies and equally applicable to services providers, right? We cannot say that I'm working in a warehouse, so we are only a service provider, we don't have any product, so why we need to have this management system, or how we are going to apply this management system. The management system is going to give the requirement for the products and the services both. You cannot say that I'm working in a organization, for example, like a training business or a consulting business, so this standard is not applicable for me. So no, this is not the answer. So these standards are generic standards, and they can apply for the products and they can apply for the services based organization. And the ultimate purpose of this standard of 9000 is to meet the customer satisfaction. The ultimate goal is the customer satisfaction. If customer is not satisfied, which means that you are not meeting the requirement of 9001 standard. 9004, very quickly, guidelines for a sustainable 9001 standard. So first thing, you need to read, you need to understand 9000. So you will get the idea about terminologies and vocabulary. Then you need to understand 9001, so you can understand the clauses. And then you need to read the 9004, so you can have the better idea how to apply this standard. So for example, the training which we are attending is also the same thing. We are also having too many things from 9004 standard in this training. If you will see your learner guide, you will find some places where you have a reference of 9004. So 9004 is the guideline for the implementation or to have a sustainable quality management system. So 9004 is not the requirement again, it is only the guideline, right? Guidelines, which means unauditable, which means no certification, which means no requirement, right? Only just to facilitate you, just to help you, just to develop you more, just to have more enhancement or more efficiency in your management system. These guidelines have been established. So those people who are in the field of implementation of this 9001 standard, I would recommend them that they should also go on through with 9004 guideline to have a better idea about how these requirements are going to be implemented. The relationship between 9000 and 9001 and 4 is very easy, as I already gave you the idea that one is for the requirement and other is the guideline. One we will get certificate, other you will not get the certificate. One is 9001 is auditable, 9004 is not auditable. 9001 is for the continual improvement and 9004 is also for the continual improvement. Basically it is for the sustainability. With 9001 you will improve, and once you are improved, then what? You need to sustain. So this sustainability will come when you are going to apply the guidelines which are mentioned in 9004, right? Similarly, this 9001 standard is also compatible with other standards, because now all standards are following high level structure. All standards are following Annex SL. So the compatibility of the management systems are now easier as compared to before. It is more easier to implement these standards together. So if you are applying 9000, then you can easily apply 14001 standard, you can easily apply 45001 standard, and any other management system, for example, food safety management system, because all are following the same structure. So if you can see in other way, if I have a drawing available for one room and my client asks me to make, you have the drawing available, now construct another room. So it will be more easier for us now, because we have gone through the development or the construction of one room. So since we have gone through the construction of one room, so we will be knowing about the material, we will be knowing very well about the dimensions, we will be knowing about the how much time we are going to have, how much raw material we are going to have. So the construction of room number 2 will be easier for us. So this is the same case with our integrated management system. So if you have already established one management system, so to integrate other management system, it will be easier because the structure is same, the requirements are same, only the risk-based thinking is going to be changed. Our focus will be on environment when we are working on 14,000. Our focus will be on safety when we are working on 45,000. And our work focus will be on food safety, how to make my product safe when we are working on 22,000. And how to be an improved company, how to satisfy my customer, how to improve my business processes. It will be focused on my 9,001 system. Any question, guys? Any question? Sleeping?
No.
Now we are good.
You are good. You
No,
are
no question.
far away from us while, so you are always good. Those who are close to us, like people in Yambo, people in Makkah, Rabigh, Riyadh, sometimes they sleep. They think that we are far. So now 19,011. Can anyone tell me 19,011? Those guys, lead auditor course, Ali Kishavi, Bandar, Adil. Mashallah, you are all 9,001 lead auditor course.
It's for
19,011.
auditing. I think it's for auditing, no?
You
Yes,
think or you are sure?
I'm sure, I'm
It's for
sure.
auditors.
Okay, very good. Yes,
I'm sure, sir, I'm sure.
sure, which is good. We need you to be confident, even if you are wrong, but you must be confident. Yes, Ali.
Yes, sir. It's for auditing processes or process.
And what? Adil. Other than auditing, what is inside this management system standard? Guidelines for auditing. Okay, very good. So 19,011, sorry. It is the standard which is same for the auditing of 9,001, 14,001, 14,001, 22,000, 50,000 business continuity, ISMS, because it is going to give us the requirement how to audit, right? This is a very good guideline which is going to define how to audit. So our second part of the course, as I told you before, will be focusing on the requirements of 19,001, that how to audit these standards. This is a generic standard which can apply for any of the management system. Always remember, when we are talking about management system. When we are talking about ISO management system. Don't get confused. There are many standards in the world, right? TQM is one of the standard, one of the system, right? TPM is one of the system. Six Sigma Lean is one of the system. There are many systems in the world exist. Even there are many quality systems in the world exist. But we are talking only about ISO management systems. So don't get confused. We are focusing on ISO management system. And in this course, we will be focusing on ISO management system about quality 9001, safety 45,001, and environment 14,000. Sometimes the participants, they get confused that we are also working on TQM, we are working on TPM, we are working on Six Sigma. So how we are going to implement this system? So this course or this standards are not the management system standard. These are not the ISO standard. We focus on ISO standards. We focus on ISO management system standard. So 19,011 is basically the guidelines for auditing of management system. It gives us the requirements about terms and definitions, principle of auditing, managing an audit program, performing an audit, competence evaluation of the auditors. For example, how to write the reports and all these things, how to present the findings. These are all from where we are going to learn. We are going to learn from 19,011, right? PDCA. What do you mean by PDCA?
Plan, do, check, act.
Plan, do, check, act. Plan, do, check, act. Where is it written in the standard? Which clause covers the PDCA?
I don't think it's written in the clause. Yes.
It's all of them.
It's not a clause, not included in a clause, I think.
It is not included in the clause, then why we are going to discuss this?
I remember it came in the first clauses or before the clauses in the introduction.
Very good. Very
Definition and terms.
Very good. No, it is not the definition. It is the concept. It is not the
principle.
definition. It is not the keyword. It is the concept which we need to have. It is the concept on which all the management systems have been established. It is the concept which we need to apply before apply any management system in our company. I used to say that whenever your company decide to go for any of the management system implementation or the establishment, first ask them go for this PDCA methodology. Adopt this PDCA methodology. If you have adopt PDCA methodology in a true sense, half of the work is already done. The people will get aware how they have to perform the task. PDCA, remember, plan, do, check, act. Plan, do, check, act. Many of the clauses of standards are going to be fall in plan. Many of the clauses are going to be fall in do. Many of the clauses will fall in see, check. And one of the last clauses fall into act. So this PDCA does not fall in any clause, but rather clauses are going to fall in this PDCA. So before starting the standard, always you will find PDCA, because when we are going to design the standard, we should have some framework available. When you are going to design a building, you need to have the drawing available. You need to have the structural engineering available. Then you can construct the building. So similarly, when you are going to design ISO management system, you need to have PDCA available. You need to have Annex SL available. This Annex SL you will not find again in any of the clause, but all clauses are focusing on Annex SL. This is the framework which is provided by the ISO. So now anyone who wants to establish ISO management system, they will be following the requirement of Annex SL and they will be establishing. Similarly, when they will be establishing the clauses, they will be following the sequence of PDCA, because PDCA is the plan, do, check. Our plans do not fail. In fact, we fail to plan. So this is a Japanese proverb, and it is very popular, and it is very necessary to understand what does it mean. That if we have a good planning department available, if we have a good planning activities available, then we can survive, right? But if there is no planning, it all depends. Okay, whatever my boss will say, I will do. Whatever my director will say, we will do. Then, which means there is no such planning, and those organizations are not going to succeed who don't have a good system of planning. So planning is very necessary. So many of the clauses in the standard, for example 4, 5, 6, they are going to fall in the plan part. Then we have the do part. Do, how to do the thing. You have already planned. Now it's time to apply the things. So do, clause number 7, clause number 8, do part. Implement. Remember, we told you establish, implement, maintain, establish, implement, maintain, PDCA, PDCA. So establish, plan part, implement, do part, right? Maintain, check part, act part. How to improve further. What we need to plan, we are going to think on it. Once we are having the plan available, yalla, let's start applying. It's time to apply our plan. It might be possible that we will have some mistakes in our plan. Okay, we can improve further. But now it's time to apply the plan. We need to apply the policies and procedure which have been established in the plan part. Now do the check part. Someone should do the inspection. That's why we have quality assurance system. That's why we have quality control system. That's why we have quality department. That's why we have safety department. That's why we have environmental department to check whether the companies are going to meet the requirements or no. So if they are not going to meet the requirements, then what you are going to do? Stop work, give them NCR, give them finding, give them observation. So why you are going to do this when you are working in quality department or the safety department? Because it is a part of your job. Your job is to check. And you are going to check according to what? You are going to check according to the plan. you are going to check according to if the plan is being followed or not being followed. So this is what you are going to check. So that's why we have all these departments available to perform the check. And then once you are going to give the finding, once you are going to give the observation or non-conformity, so when the organization is work on it, they are going to be improved. They are going to take the corrective action on it. They are going to make the new objective to meet these requirements. So this is our act part. So in standard, clause number 4, 5, 6, sometimes 7 also included in the part of plan. Then clause number 8, do part. Clause number 9, check part. Clause number 10, act part. So very easy to understand. All our standard is, revolving around PDCA. That's why this picture is revolving. So what does it mean? That all our standard is revolving around PDCA. If we understand the PDCA, for us it will be very easier to understand the clauses, right? So you can see when we are going to plan, we need to have scope, policy, context of organization, roles and responsibilities, objectives and targets, resources, competence and awareness, internal and external communication. Then we have do, implement, what to implement, which you have done in the planning part. Implement your quality policy, implement your objective, implement your requirements for the product and services, design and development, external provided products and services, for example, vendor qualification, supplier management, production and service provision, how your production is working, how your service provision you are doing, if you are a service provider. Then what are the requirements? In do part, release, how you are going to check, final check, QC, QA, these are all coming in. Release of product, and when you are doing the non-conformities observations within the system, these are also the part of do. Then check, what to check, monitor, analyze what we need to analyze, if the policy is according to the requirement, if the objectives are going to meet, if the plans are going to be meet, if the we need, and how we can do this, by internal audit, by management review, by inspection activities. And once we have the checking part available, then we can have act. If we don't have the check part available, then how we can have act? Act is the improvement. So if you are not going to check, then how you will go for the improvement? I don't remember the name of the one of the country who said that we have 0 coronavirus case. So when someone asks why you have the 0 coronavirus case, they say that we don't have the kits available. We don't know how is the kit of coronavirus. So if nobody is going to check, which means 0 cases, right? So if you are not going to check your quality management system or the safety management system or the environmental management system, then how you can improve yourself? Those companies who don't have the system of inspection, measurement and monitoring, those who don't have the system for audits, how they are going to improve? So that's why this PDCA is very important. We are going to improve if we are going to have a good implementation and good checking system available. Shall we take the break or we should continue? Continue, I think. Continue. Risk-based thinking. Remember risk-based thinking. I hope today you will remember all the time risk-based thinking. All of this standard are being defined into risk-based thinking. Risk-based thinking is a very important part when we are going to understand 9000. After the Annex SL, remember from 2013, after Annex SL, all the standards are focusing on risk-based thinking. All the standards are designed in such a way that they are going to apply the risk-based thinking. That's why preventive action are no more available in the standard. Before, there was a separate clause for preventive actions, but now there is no clause called preventive action. All the preventive actions have gone into the risk-based thinking, right? The standard says that you need to apply the things according to the risk base. You need to apply the things according to the risk-based thinking, right?
Sir?
Yes, please.
I think in the old version of ISO 9001, there is no risk-based thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it true?
Yes, risk-based thinking, it came from 2015. It's a
Mhm.
new concept. In the old version, there was no concept. One important thing I would repeat again: whenever any of you have question and I'm describing something, it's better to raise your hand. So once I complete the slide, then I can give you the answer. Sometimes
Okay, next time,
I'm,
inshallah.
yeah, exactly, because sometimes I'm in my, I'm involved in my thinking. I have certain image which I have to follow. But in the meantime, if someone says sir, so it's like you have put the pin on my balloon. So I'm sorry for that. So anyway, risk-based thinking, all the standards are being defined into risk-based thinking. So risk-based thinking is a very important, and it is, you will find, as I told you before, in Annex SL. Annex SL came from 2015. Started in 2013, but those standards which have published in 2015 and later on, they are following all the requirement of Annex SL. So this comes with the Annex SL. Risk-based thinking, all the standards focusing on risk-based thinking. It's okay, it's okay. Now, quality management principle. Yes, anyone can tell me that where you will find this quality management principle in the clauses? Quality management system in the process, in the clauses. Where you are going to find them?
You mean plan, do, check up? You mean?
No, land, do, check, act, you will not find in the clause. But where you are going to find this principle?
All
Yes,
of them.
Adil, Ali,
It's
Bandar.
basic. It's a principle.
It's
So
for
it's not
clauses.
included in one.
Apart from each, all of them.
So
Mm,
all of the clauses will be following one of the principle, right?
From clause 4 to 10.
Very good. Yes, yes. All our clauses are following one of the principle, right? Because if our clauses are not following the principle, then again the PDCA is not going to meet. So again, this principle are not in any of the clause, but all the clauses are following this principle. First you have the principle, then you will run the show. So if you don't have the principle for anything, or then how you are going to run the show? So that's why quality management principle are the summary of whole 9001 standard. Those having good understanding of quality management system principle, they will have good understanding of all the clauses. If you don't have good understanding of 9001 system or quality management principle, then you cannot have a good understanding of 9001 clauses as well, right? So we are now dividing you into the groups so you can discuss about quality management system principle. In your, if you open your learner guide, you will find too much detail about quality management principle. What I'm expecting from you, we will divide you into 3 groups so you can do the activity as early as possible and we can discuss it and move on. So what you need to do, every group will discuss about 2 principles, right? One group will be focusing on customer focus and leadership. Second group will be discussing on engagement of people, process approach. Third will be discussing on improvement and evidence-based decision making. So these are the 6 principles which you are going to discuss. The 7th one I will discuss, no problem. And what you need to discuss in this workshop, what do they mean in actual? What do you understand when it comes to you? When we say that quality management system focus on customer focus, what does it mean actual? So you will find some details in your learner guide. So you need to open your learner guide and then you need to focus on it. What is the meaning of leadership? What is the meaning of engagement of people? What do you understand? And then second activity, what you need to do, you will open 9001 standard and you will find that which of the clauses are going to fall on customer focus. For example, there will be, for each principle, there will be 2, 3, 4 clauses which can fall in each of the principle. So when you will know what is the customer focus, then you can find the clauses which are meeting the requirements of customer focus. When you will know process approach, then you can find the clauses which are going to meet the requirement of process approach. When you will know what is the improvement requirement by this quality management principle, then you will know the clauses which are mentioned. So you will have 10 minutes for this activity, and we will divide you in 3 groups. Each of the participants will be taking part in this activity. No one will be sleeping now. For example, 2 guys can be involved in reading the standard or the learner guide, and one of the guy can be involved in reading the standard to find the clauses related to their principle, and the 4th one will be focusing on writing, right, the feedback he is going to write. And every time, as our previous practice, that we are going to change the group leader. So maybe one time if one guy is going to give the presentation, so the next time will be some other group member is going to give the presentation. We want all of your involvement, right? So focus on the group activity, divide into group and lead your group as you know, in such a way that you are a one team, you are working in a one company, one department, so your thinking should be the same. Okay, I'm going to divide you into 3 groups. Please join your groups.
This approach and risk-based thinking.
Right. Very good.
So
Very good.
this is the only clause we found.
Okay. Okay. Now group number 3. We have improvement and evidence-based decision making.
Yes, I want to share, but please stop sharing.
I will stop sharing. Anything else?
Okay. The improvement, it refers to clause number 9. The organization required to maintain a good and updated quality management system to react to internal and external changes in needs and expectations. Should be expectations. Also for any opportunities that is available. In clause number 10,
Very good.
the organization is required or shall contain continuing sustainability and adequacy, effectiveness and alignment of the processes and the outputs with the strategic direction of the organization. Evidence-based decision making, we refer to clause number 9, 9.1 and point 2, that every decision should be taken with enough data and addressed of the risks. So it helps us pointing the needs and opportunities available and to analyze them. Also to evaluate the outputs of the system and their compatibility to the objectives.
Very good. And the clause are 9.1 and 9.2. Right. Very good.
Yes.
So these are basically summary of all the standards, and then we have last principle called relationship management. When we say relationship management, we need to have a good relationship with our internal parties and our external parties. What does it mean, internal parties? Which means our employees, our management, our stakeholders, who are all responsible for the organizational business. Similarly, we need to have good relationship with our external parties, for example, our customers, our suppliers, our shareholders in the company, those who are the sleeping partners, for example, the group companies, the legal bodies, the neighbors. These are all our external interested parties. So we need to have a good relationship with all of them, because they are directly or indirectly involved in the improvement of the organizational business, and ultimately they can affect on the quality management system. For example, I'll give you the example. The corporate says that, okay, from next year we don't have the budget for the quality management system auditing and for the certification. We are going to cut our budget. Now you will find after this pandemic, you will see, and you will now facing now, even that the companies, they have reduced the budget for each department. So maybe someone can have this impact that the company say that we don't want 4 people, 5 people in quality management or IMS management system. We can afford only 2 people. We don't need the certification for 4 standard. We need the certification only for 1 standard, which is very important for us. So then they are going to affect on your quality management system. They are going to affect on your other management system. So this is how any of the external parties can have impact on your quality management system. For example, your neighbor may complain that my neighbor or your organization is making too much pollution, which is not good for the neighbor product or for the neighbor people who are working in their company. So the government is going to make penalty on you. So this is how we need to focus on our relationship management, that we need to have good relationship, we need to follow, we need to meet the requirements and the needs of our related parties, internal interested parties, external interested parties. So this is all about our summary of the standard. We will stop here today, and I'll give you some homework. If you see your learner guide, page number 37 to 45. Page number 37 to 45. We need to start. Just have a review on these pages because I'm not going to discuss these things tomorrow, and we will start directly with the new version of 2015 requirements. Okay, so just highlight some important points, and if anyone or some of you guys they want to share in the WhatsApp group some important points, they can share, so the others can also get involved in this activity. So these are something which I'm not going to discuss. I will discuss started from the clauses tomorrow to save our time. Okay, guys, any question?
Mr. Anas,
Yes.
just please could you please just give us some recap or abstract about the principles of quality?
We can have the summary of these standards. So the first thing what we need to focus on as a part of our quality management system principle, as I told you, these quality management principles are not found in any of the clause of 9001 standard. These are basically the ideology, or you can say this is the methodology on which all of the clauses are going to be followed. So there are 7 quality management principles on which all the standard is being designed. The first is the customer focus. The quality management system should be a customer focus. We need to identify the needs and expectations of our customers. So because ultimate purpose, as we discussed already, that ultimate purpose of quality management system is to meet the needs and expectations of our customer. So customer focus should be very important principle of our quality management. Then we have leadership. Any of the quality management or any other management system requirement is not going to be fulfilled until unless we have a leadership is involved in the establishment, implementation, and maintenance of the quality management system. The leadership plays a very important role, for example, in the identifying of the resources, in the provision of decision making. For example, if you need the budget for the good implementation of the management system, if you need human resource, for example, manpower for the establishment and the implementation of management system. So if the leadership is not going to be involved, then the decision making will be very difficult and they are not going to provide you resources. So the standard says that now ultimately the top management is responsible for the establishment and the implementation of the quality management system. Then we have engagement of people. Engagement of people is very necessary while we are implementing any of the management system, especially quality management system. Engagement of people in terms of our communication. For example, we need to involve the people throughout the organization. It is not something that we have the procedures available, but these procedures are only in the quality manager room or in the quality manager cabinet or in the computer of IMS department. There is no involvement of the people. The people who are working in the company, they don't know what is quality management system, what are the requirements of quality management system, and how these are being applied in their processes. So we, as a part of IMS team, it is our responsibility that we will involve the people in the development and in the implementation of quality management system. This engagement of people can be done by assigning them the job responsibilities into their job descriptions. These can be done by putting the requirements into your organization chart as well. And then we have process approach. Process approach means that all processes within the organization, they are interconnected with each other, they are interrelated with each other, and there must be some input and some process and the output. So each process output is the input of another process. For example, the output of our marketing department is the input for our planning department. The output of planning department is the input for our purchase department and production department. The output of production department is basically the input for our warehouse and the sale, again the sales team. So all departments are interconnected. All the process within quality management system are interconnected. If one of the pillar is going to be fall, the whole system is going to be fall. We cannot say that my warehouse is going to be fail in the quality management system, so still I have very good quality management system. It is incorrect. If any of the pillar is going to be fall, if any of the process is not going to meet the requirement of quality management system, the other processes will also be not meeting the requirements of quality management system. We cannot say that we have the process approach. So in implementation of quality management system, we need to have a process approach available. So all are working for the same goal, because overall input and the output of the organization is involved all of the single processes inputs and out. Then we have improvement part, the intention of quality management system, improvement. If there is no improvement, which means that the standard is not going to be implemented in a true sense. Improvement, when we discuss about improvement, we can have quality objectives, we can have our improvement requirement like internal audits, corrective actions, management reviews. These are all our improvement parts. So all these clauses are focusing on the improvement, because as we know, improvement is very necessary as an output of quality management system. Then we have evidence-based decision making. Evidence-based decision making is a new thing. It was not in the previous standard of 2008 version. Evidence-based decision making is that first we need to have the data available, we need to analyze the data, and then we will go for the decision making. It is not like that my manager or my general manager, he likes one manager, so whatever that manager is going to say, he is going to apply. Whatever resources he needs, he is going to fulfill. Rather than we need to go for the factual, we need to go for the numbers, we need to go for the stats, we need to go for the analysis. So our analysis will speak that what do we need the next time, how much we need to improve, where are we standing. It is not a correct statement that our system is very good, we have now reduced the losses, we have now reduced the breakdown. So how much we have reduced, this is our evidence. This will come from the measurement and monitoring part. If we have a strong system of remember check part, measuring and monitoring part, then we can have the data available. If we have data available, then we can have the decision making based on the evidence. So if we don't have a monitoring and measurement part in our company, if we are not going to measure the performance, the KPIs, the status of our equipment and devices, the overall processes, then we cannot take evidence-based decision making, and there might be possible that the decision which we are going to take, they are going to fail. And that's why we need to have the PDCA system available. So relationship management, as I told you before, we need to have a strong relationship with our internal parties and our external parties. When we say internal parties, which means our employees, our management, those people who are working in the companies who are responsible for the overall management system. Similarly, external parties, for example, suppliers, customers, neighbors, legal bodies, we need to have good relationship with them. We need to see their requirements. We need to identify their needs and expectations, and then the organization has to apply the controls. So this is all about quality management principle. So in short, these quality management system are the full summary of our ISO 9001-2015 version. So if you have a good understanding of these ISO 9001, this quality management system, then the other clauses, all of the clauses will be very easier to understand, right?
Thank you, Mr. Anas.